On June 21, 2025, the world witnessed one of the most complex stealth bombing operations in military history. 7 B-2 Spirit bombers, supported by over 125 aircraft, executed a precision strike against Iran's most heavily fortified nuclear facilities. But how did these ghost-like aircraft penetrate some of the world's most sophisticated air defenses? The operation wasn't just about the B-2 bombers. It was a symphony of military coordination involving 7 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers as the tip of the spear. Over 30 cruise missiles fired from submerged nuclear submarines, 125 total aircraft, including tankers, escorts, and electronic warfare platforms, and FA-18 Super Hornets and EA-18 Growlers for air superiority and electronic warfare. These B-2s are massive fuel consumers. Flying from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri to Iran and back requires multiple aerial refuelings. But here's the complexity most people miss. Those KC-135 Stratotankers don't fly alone. They need protection from FA-18 electronic warfare squadrons that not only escort the tankers, but also create an electronic shield around the entire strike package. The U.S. didn't rely solely on Missouri-based aircraft. Strategic positioning included Qatar air bases as closer staging areas, Diego Garcia as the unsinkable aircraft carrier in the Indian Ocean, and Andersen Air Force Base, Guam, for Pacific power projection. By pre-positioning B-2s at Diego Garcia, the U.S. created a secure launch point covering the Middle East, Africa, and Indo-Pacific. This was a calculated move that enhanced both survivability and operational reach. Aircraft carriers and submarines formed a protective corridor across the Arabian Sea. FA-18 Super Hornets and EA-18 Growlers launched from carrier decks with clearly defined roles. Some would clear paths through Iranian air defenses, others would guard the precious tankers, keeping the entire operation airborne. As B-2s lifted off, their jagged silhouettes disappeared into the night sky. But stealth technology alone wasn't enough. EA-18 Growlers began flooding Iranian frequencies with electronic noise, creating a cacophony that masked the strike group's movements. In underground command centers, U.S. analysts monitored real-time feeds, ready to redirect forces if Iranian radars showed any signs of detection. While the B-2s flew their calculated routes, an invisible electronic war raged. Iranian ground controllers struggled to cut through the jamming, desperately trying to vector their fighters toward the incoming threat. But the U.S. electronic warfare capability proved overwhelming. Communications were disrupted, targeting systems failed, and coordination broke down. Crossing into Iranian territory required climbing to extreme altitudes. The B-2's routes were meticulously plotted to avoid known surface-to-air missile sites below. Iran's landscape of vast stretches of mountains and deserts offered little natural cover, making the bombers' radar-absorbing skin their primary shield. The weapon of choice was the GBU-57, a 30,000-pound bunker-busting monster that only the B-2 can carry. Due to its massive size, each bomber could only carry 2 of these weapons in its bomb bay. This weapon weighs 30,000 pounds or 14,000 kilograms and penetrate over 200 feet of reinforced concrete. Uses military-grade GPS with inertial navigation for guidance and has 4 active lattice fins for precision control. The destruction process works in 5 critical steps. First, the B-2 reaches the designated coordinates at extreme altitude. Optimal conditions are confirmed, and the bomb bay doors open. Second, advanced guidance technology kicks in as military-grade GPS satellites and inertial navigation systems lock onto the target coordinates. Third, 4 lattice fins at the rear constantly adjust in real time, correcting the bomb's course as it falls. Without thrusters, these fins and the high-altitude drop provide all trajectory control. Fourth, when 30,000 pounds of specially designed steel alloy hits at terminal velocity, the physics are brutal. The weapon buries itself over 200 feet into reinforced concrete, equivalent to penetrating a 20-story building underground. Fifth, 2 backup fuses ensure reliability through G-sensing and time delay mechanisms positioned at the rear to prevent damage during penetration. When detonation occurs deep underground, it creates a localized earthquake effect that can collapse entire bunker complexes. Since June 13, 2025, Israel had been striking these same facilities with their own bunker-busting munitions. However, they could only damage ventilation shafts and surface infrastructure. Iran's nuclear facilities are engineering marvels, buried under multiple layers of reinforced concrete and soil, specifically designed to withstand conventional attacks. Take Fordo, for example. Unlike surface facilities, Fordo sits deep underground, protected by extensive fortifications. Israeli advanced bunker-busting munitions struggled against the dense shielding. This is precisely where U.S. capability exceeded Israeli resources. Only the B-2 and GBU-57 combination could achieve the required penetration depth. The operation targeted 3 main facilities. Natanz has 6 above-ground buildings and 3 underground levels, large enough to house 50,000 centrifuges. The attack method involved submarine-launched cruise missiles for surface targets and GBU-57s for underground sections. Fordo sits approximately 300 feet underground, in a mountain with multiple layers of reinforced concrete protection. This required maximum penetration capability, only achievable with the GBU-57. Isfahan is a mixed surface and underground infrastructure complex that required a combined submarine cruise missile and bomber attack approach. 30 cruise missiles launched from submerged nuclear submarines added another dimension to the attack. The launch sequence is a marvel of engineering. Protective seals break under high-pressure air as hatches open. High-pressure air propels the missile to the surface. Rocket boosters ignite as the tip breaks water. The main engine engages and wings deploy automatically. Finally, terminal guidance systems take over for target acquisition. These submarine-launched weapons targeted surface infrastructure and ventilation systems, complementing the deep penetration bombing campaign. Iran's air defenses, while not cutting-edge, remained dangerous. Aging F-14, Tomcats, and MiG-29s might be outdated, but in the right circumstances, they could still threaten a B-2. The stealth bombers have virtually no dogfighting capability. Their survival depends entirely on avoiding detection and engagement. F-18. Super Hornets formed protective screens around the strike package. Guided by airborne warning and control system aircraft orbiting safely offshore, these fighters engaged with long-range missiles, forcing Iranian interceptors to break off or face destruction. EA-18 Growlers maintained their electronic siege throughout the operation, ensuring Iranian SAM sites fired salvos harmlessly into empty air, fooled by decoys and jammed targeting systems. After weapons release, the B-2s turned westward, racing to clear Iranian air defense coverage. The sky filled with chaos as reactivated SAM sites fired desperately into empty air, their targeting systems overwhelmed by electronic countermeasures. Over Iraq, the bombers met tankers again for the critical refueling that would get them home. F-22 Raptors joined the escort, their advanced sensors scanning for any Iranian response the defensive systems might have missed. Early damage assessments suggest the operation achieved its primary objectives. The Fordo facility's deep underground structures were compromised by multiple GBU-57 impacts. Both surface and underground centrifuge halls at the Natanz complex were damaged. The Isfahan site suffered mixed damage to processing and enrichment capabilities. This operation represents a new level of precision deep strike capability. The combination of stealth technology, electronic warfare, and massive bunker-penetrating weapons created a capability that few nations can match or defend against. The implications extend far beyond this single operation. Any nation considering building hardened underground facilities must now account for the reality that even the most sophisticated bunkers can be penetrated by the right combination of stealth delivery systems and precision munitions. Modern military operations are symphonies of technology, strategy, and coordination that operate on a scale and complexity that would have been unimaginable just decades ago. The success of this mission relied not just on advanced technology, but on the intricate coordination of over 125 aircraft, multiple naval vessels, satellite systems, and electronic warfare platforms working in perfect harmony to achieve a strategic objective that reshapes the balance of power in one of the world's most volatile regions.